they know they have a tremendous opportunity in front of them right now, and it starts here in East Lansing. Um, you're playing against a kind of a different type of opponent that you've seen so far. A team that's going to run right at you. They got the number one running back in the country right now, and they've got a very stout defense. So a very complete team. And Nebraska's got their work cut out for them. It's going to be a very physical matchup. You saw Nebraska play a very physical brand of football last week at Oklahoma, and you see how far it got them. And I think right now they're just licking their chops right now to go out there and just grind it with Michigan State. And I think you're going to see a very defensive ball game on both sides of the ball and a low scoring affair. But I like Nebraska's chances going into East Lansing there Saturday night. Second week in a row, Nebraska's playing on grass too, which doesn't happen. Last time they played 2 games in a row on grass was 2014. So they don't play on the grass that often, but I think they're really looking forward to this one.
Yeah, I think this is a great opportunity for them. And like you said, the defense really has that ability to keep them in, but now it's up to the offense and especially the special teams like we've seen now to actually help them win those games. So like we know you have to score points in the Big Ten, especially in that red zone. Nebraska didn't have much success against Oklahoma in the red zone. They had to kick 3 field goals, missed 2 of them, and so those are points left on the board that could have been, 21 points if they could have converted on those. So that's going to be an important part going into these games. In Michigan State, when they're close talent teams like this, it's probably going to be a fourth quarter game. And like we saw against Miami, Michigan State really dominated in that fourth quarter. So it's going to be important for Nebraska to carry on that momentum throughout the whole game.
Greg, you talked about Kenneth Walker. I don't know what his stats were against Miami. They were something like 200 yards rushing. He ran for, I think, 234 against Northwestern. The Wake Forest transfer likens him to Barry Sanders. I'm trying to think of who I would liken him to. He's not that shifty. He's a tremendous power and speed combination. I don't know if he's Eric Dickerson, who he reminds me of, but he's impressive.
Yeah. He is impressive, that's for sure. You got me lost now trying to think of who he reminds me of. But, the numbers he's put up so far are amazing. And, this guy he's a cut and go guy. He picks that gap and he's going to hit that gap and he's going to go. You got to get a bunch of bodies on him. You got to gang tackle him, and because arm tackle is not going to bring him down the way he's been playing. So you got to be that front seven is going to be dependent on highly here this week, and they know it, and they love it. They're up for the challenge. I can tell you that right now. They're licking their chops right now. I know. We talked to Deontre Thomas earlier today, and this is the kind of game that they've been waiting for. That defensive line has been waiting for, because it's on them this week, and they know they got backup back there. The secondary and the linebacker core got their back, and so I think you might see some real nasty play by that defensive line this week.
Yeah, I think this is going to be their first really big test with a back like this and Kenneth Walker III. And especially in the Big Ten, you see more of these really power style running backs. And so I think that being able to contain him, even just a little bit less than 200 yards, would give them some momentum and make them feel like they could do better. And then also being against a running game, they did pretty good last year, but so important, especially in the Big Ten. There's a lot of running offenses, so it's super important to be able to hold somebody down a little bit.
These 2 backs that they faced at Oklahoma, Eric Gray, the Tennessee transfer, and Kennedy Brooks, who has gained 1,000 yards twice in his career, are certainly nothing to sneeze at. 2 quality backs. And Nebraska didn't shut them down by any stretch, but they held them in check. They didn't do serious damage against the defense. So good running game defense against Oklahoma. And I'm going to have to do some digging to see the last time Oklahoma only scored 23 points in a football game.
5 years.
It's been a while. 5 years?
5 seasons,
okay.
Yeah. I talked about that when we first came on there. That, yeah, I mean, that's the best defense that Oklahoma's played in 5 years.
Oh, okay. I heard you say that. I thought you meant this is the best defense that Oklahoma's played in 5 years. I got you.
Like the last time was Ohio State when they played Ohio State there in the playoffs. So, yeah.
Yeah, Ohio State beat them in Norman. Exactly. Kenneth Walker, $172 against Miami, 6.4 yards per carry. I'm going to be interested to see how Nebraska can generate some offense against this Michigan State defense because they are really tough as well. Miami put it up 59 times just trying to get something generated because they couldn't run it well. And they passed for 388 yards. But on that many pass attempts, I watched just about every play of that game. And besides Michigan State's corners giving up ground, they pretty much gave the little hitch route up all day for some reason. They could pretty much throw for 7 or 8 yards at will. But besides that, they tackled in space. They put pressure on the quarterback. They stuffed the running game. Typically physical, aggressive Michigan State defense.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing about their defense is they make tackles. They don't miss a lot of tackles on there. You know, that's the mark of a well-coached defense. And you know, they've got a coaching staff that has a pretty good track record. You know, before they all got together there at Michigan State. So. Yeah, I mean, Nebraska has their work cut out for them, bottom line. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you get a look at the Yantee this weekend, definitely. Looks to me like it's going to be one of those power-type games that, you know, like we mentioned a little bit earlier, you saw some new wrinkles there in Nebraska's offensive scheme there with running the ball that might just be a precursor for what you're going to see more of this Saturday, and that might mean a heavy dose of Marquis Step and a little chaser of Jaquez Yant. So we'll see.
Big Red says Mel Tucker said only 2,500 Husker fans will be at the game.
Sounds about right to me. I don't know of a huge contingent of Nebraska fans that are planning on going down there.
He said that that's the amount of tickets that Nebraska asked for. Okay. And I think him saying that is like, I want there to be green in the stadium and not so much red. So I think that was a little bit of a momentum thing for the fans to like, please come here because Nebraska will probably buy our tickets. And we don't want that. They want to have like a really electric environment, especially because they have so much momentum being 3-0 or 3-0. And so especially after that huge Miami game. So they want to keep on like this is a really big game for them, like momentum wise, and also a huge one for Nebraska also.
Yep. You're right on.
Yeah, Big Ten opener for Michigan State. They're done with the non-conference games, as is Nebraska. Of course, Nebraska's faced Illinois. So, as Greg said, probably can't lose another game. I guess you could technically, and then if you run the table, you're 7-2 in the Big Ten. You may create some kind of big log jam at the top at 7-2. But yes.
and we're counting a loss at Ohio State when I mean that you need to win the rest of them. So, yeah, there's that one loss that you're just bringing up right there, in my book at least.
Sure, that would have been the automatic loss that everybody assumed at one point. But hey,
right. But who knows?
Went to Nebraska went to Oklahoma, only lost by a touchdown, and Ohio State's not playing well right now.
No, if this is the year, hey, it'd be nice to see, especially when it's here in Lincoln. If Nebraska could come into that game on a win streak, who knows? Crazier things have happened in college football.
All right, folks. What else do we have here in the chat? Matthew, Nebraska heads into Big Ten play. This will be a true test for our defense. Back to playing in a phone booth. Yep. Sparty's physical. Mel Tucker is going to be bringing the pain to Nebraska.
Vice versa as well.
Uh-huh.
I mean, this is, Abby and I see it day in and day out. I mean, this is the best built Nebraska team for the Big Ten that we've seen since they've moved into the Big Ten. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what unfolds here the rest of the season.
Big Red says Michigan State is one of the only teams we have a winning record against. That must mean in the Big Ten. Don't know what the record is there, but the last time they got together was in the snow, right?
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, that was the 9-6 game.
Yes.
Yeah.
They haven't played that many times since Nebraska joined the Big Ten. And
all-time series, Nebraska leads 9-2. In East Lansing, Nebraska leads 2-1. Last game was Nebraska 9, Michigan State 6, 2018 in the snow in Lincoln. Nebraska's won 2 in a row against them.
Yeah, and Nebraska also beat Michigan State the year that the Spartans went to the playoffs.
Yep.
In 2015.
Yep.
And they played in a bowl game. What year was that? Like
the Alamo Bowl.
03? Yeah. In the Alamo Bowl?
Yeah. That was a fun game. Yeah. I think it was the Alamo Bowl. Or was that Michigan?
No, that they played Michigan State. Well, they did play. They played Michigan at the Alamo Bowl as well. That was in 05, but I think it was against Michigan State in 03.
Something like that. Yeah.
Beat them 17-3, if I recall correctly.
I'll tell you, there's a ton of Nebraska fans down in San Antonio. It's crazy. They love it when Nebraska comes down to the Alamo Bowl, and they haven't been down there for a while. But yeah.
I'll get through some of these questions that are coming in now. Silent Elysium. Why is an unranked Nebraska team that usually doesn't win on the road underdogs just by a couple of points to a 3-0 number 20 ranked Michigan State team at home? I think that Nebraska is shown with the effort at Oklahoma and also Michigan State. If you really look at their resume, it's been impressive the way that they've dominated teams, but throw out the Youngstown State game because this is obviously such a higher caliber team that Michigan State did have an impressive showing at Miami, but that game didn't get out of hand until 5-6 minutes left in the game. It was a close game. Northwestern has proven to probably be the worst team in the league. And Vegas typically has a pretty good beat on these games. So I'm not going to question the point spread there. Yeah, Michigan State, I don't know what the point spread is now, but I would guess that they would be a 3 or 4 point favorite in this one.
Yeah, I haven't looked lately either, but
I think it's 3.
3?
I think that's what it was last time I saw it. Yeah, but I think also that Vegas is also looking. They watch these games too, and I'll put it out there that arguably, I think you've seen Nebraska put together the 2 best back-to-back performances that they've had under Scott Frost. The way they played against Buffalo and the way they played against Oklahoma. And, we're talking about a few mistakes here and there. And, going back to that Illinois game, they're right there in it at the end too. But, mistakes kept them from winning that game too. So, Nebraska is so close to being a 4-0 team right now. If we're not talking about some of these mistakes on special teams, it's a different story. So Vegas knows that. Vegas sees the way Nebraska's playing. And for all the reasons you just said about Michigan State too, that their opponents that they've played aren't all that great either. I think Miami's obviously been a little bit overrated. So I think Vegas is right on there, and you give Michigan State the 3-point advantage because they're playing at home at night.
Big Red and others are looking for particular point totals and point spreads against Michigan State. I would say that we're in Big Ten play now. And, of course, any game, if you win any game by 1 point, it's a win. Of course, you evaluate certain games. Had they beaten Fordham by 1 point, Buffalo by 1 point, of course, you get concerned because they are supposed to win those games by wider point spreads than that. So it's more of an evaluation of the performance on the field. But now that they're in Big Ten play, I don't know why we need to demand a 2-touchdown win against Michigan State. It's on the road against a really good football team that's won all of its games. So, hey, win the game by 1 point.
Hey, you know what? I'll tell you what. Why don't you call up any Oklahoma player or coach and ask what kind of respect they have for Nebraska? I think right there they'll give you all the respect in the world what they saw there. And, now you see a lot of talk going on about, even trying to get this rivalry back going year in and year out because I think of what Nebraska showed and, how passionate they are about their brand, that they can rise up and play the number 3 team in the country nose to nose. I think Nebraska, if they win, I don't care what they win by. If they win at Michigan State, that respect's going to start building, and that's how a team builds success as well. This is the start. Like I said, they got 8 games left on their schedule, 5 ranked teams, and if you want to show something, you want the country to respect you, there you go. You go take care of business with what's left on your schedule, and they'll get all the respect they deserve.